Welcome, crypto-curious comrades, to Satoshi's Daily Podcast, where we decode the wacky world of Bitcoin one block at a time. Buckle up, because today's episode is off the chain. Okay, so we've got a whole stack of articles here about Bitcoin, and wow, it seems like the crypto markets are really having a moment.
Yeah.
Bitcoin just blew past $66,400.
Right.
Highest it's been since July. And it's not just Bitcoin either.
Yeah.
All these crypto-linked stocks are riding right along with it. So we are doing a deep dive into what's behind this surge, what it means for the crypto world, and maybe what it means for you.
Definitely eye-catching numbers, especially with all the October buzz going around.
All right.
And it is interesting because we know Bitcoin has historically seen these price increases in 9 out of the last 11 Octobers, at least according to CoinGlass.
So this October thing?
Yeah.
Is that
It's more than just like some random spike.
okay?
It could actually point to something bigger going on in the market.
Something bigger. Okay, you've got me intrigued now.
Yeah.
Is it really like something about October itself that Bitcoin likes so much?
Well, it's not really about Bitcoin having like a favorite month or anything.
Right.
It's more about trying to understand these market cycles we see. For whatever reason, certain times of the year tend to line up with, bullish or bearish sentiment, and it could be a bunch of things, and maybe it's end-of-year optimism or maybe tax implications, or honestly, even just traders latching onto these patterns from the past.
So we're seeing this surge in Bitcoin, but it's also impacting those companies that are kind of riding on its coattails.
Right.
CleanSpark, which is a Bitcoin mining company, their stock jumped more than 12%. Coinbase is up more than 11%. Even Marathon Digital Holdings got a boost.
Yeah.
It's like this rising tide lifts all boats. But in this case, the boats are all about Bitcoin.
Exactly. When Bitcoin is doing well, those companies in the Bitcoin world, they benefit too.
Right.
Mining companies, the exchanges, the whole ecosystem, really.
Makes sense.
Investors see that connection, and it makes them more confident, which drives those stock prices up.
It's wild how interconnected it all is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something that really jumped out at me from these articles. U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Okay.
Apparently, they just had their biggest single-day inflow since June. A massive $556 million flowed in.
Yeah.
That's not,
That's a lot of money.
yeah, that's not people with, a couple extra bucks.
Right.
That's institutional investors making moves.
Definitely. And it really makes you think about how institutional investors are looking at Bitcoin these days.
Yeah.
We're talking about the big players,
Yeah.
Hedge funds, asset managers, maybe even pension funds.
Wow.
They're starting to dip their toes into the crypto waters. It's not just about speculation anymore.
Right.
This feels different. Like they're starting to see crypto, and particularly Bitcoin, as a real legitimate asset class.
So Fidelity's ETF, just to give you an idea,
Right.
took in almost $240 million of that inflow.
Wow.
That's a huge show of confidence.
Yeah.
So all this institutional money pouring in, what does that actually mean for the average investor?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it brings up one of the most debated topics in the crypto world,
Mm-hmm.
market manipulation. Because when you have these big players entering the market, there's always the risk that they could have a bigger influence on the price of Bitcoin,
Right.
especially when you think about Bitcoin's market cap
Right.
compared to those traditional assets.
It's still relatively small.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So on the one hand, it's validation for crypto. It's like it's growing up.
Right.
But on the other hand, it introduces these new factors that could really swing the market.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
It's definitely a fascinating and complicated situation to watch unfold.
absolutely.
And it just emphasizes how important it is to stay informed and really understand all the pieces that are in play as you navigate this world, because it is constantly evolving.
It really is a wild world out there
It is.
in the crypto streets.
Yeah.
But all right, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. So Bitcoin is having its moment, but meanwhile, we've got this election coming up, and things could get really interesting in the crypto world, depending on who wins.
Yeah, for sure.
You included some articles about where the candidates stand on crypto, and it seems like our next president could either be crypto's best friend
Right.
or its worst enemy.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And Galaxy Research actually did this whole analysis comparing Trump and Harris on crypto.
Okay.
And the difference is pretty wild.
Yeah, it's like they're looking at two completely different things when they talk about it.
Right.
From what I gathered, Trump basically wants to make America like the crypto capital of the world.
Yeah, he's really leaning into it.
He even talked about maybe replacing Gary Gensler, who's the head of the SEC right now.
It's true. Trump is all about that hands-off free market approach when it comes to crypto.
Yeah.
He sees the potential for the economy, and he just wants to let it grow.
Right.
He's also really into that self-custody thing.
Yeah.
You know, having total control over your own crypto without needing banks or exchanges.
Right. Right.
Which makes sense considering his whole approach to the economy.
Totally. But I've also seen some people say that being totally hands-off could lead to more scams
Oh, absolutely.
and just make the whole market less stable.
It's a valid concern for sure.
What do you think?
Well, I think there has to be some kind of balance. You know,
Right.
you want to encourage innovation, but you also have to protect people who are investing.
Right.
Self-custody gives you more control, which is great,
Right.
but it's also risky because if you lose your private keys, your crypto is gone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's no bank to call for help or anything.
Right. Right.
It's like burying treasure in your backyard.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's secure,
Yeah.
but it's risky.
It is. It is.
So you got to be careful.
So, okay, we've talked about Trump. Where does that leave Harris on all of this? She seems a little quieter on crypto.
Yeah, she's definitely been more low-key than Trump, but she has started to work crypto into her whole opportunity economy strategy.
Right. I did see that.
And interestingly enough, she actually got $1 million XRP donation from Ripple co-founder Chris Larson.
Wow. Okay.
So that suggests she might be warming up to the crypto world a bit.
$1 million donation will definitely do that.
Yeah, that speaks volumes.
It does.
So yeah, it seems like her views might be shifting a bit.
Interesting. So even with that shift, though, it feels like there are still some big differences between them,
Oh yeah, for sure.
especially when it comes to regulation.
Yeah, that's where it really matters. You know,
Right.
Trump has been very critical of how the SEC has been handling crypto under Biden.
Right.
There have been over 100 regulatory actions against different companies.
Wow.
He sees that as stifling innovation,
Yeah. Yeah.
just getting in the way.
Right.
Harris hasn't been as clear about her specific policies,
Okay.
but it seems likely that she'd be focused on protecting consumers and preventing illegal activity,
Okay.
which could mean stricter regulation.
Oh, right. So depending on who gets elected, the whole regulatory landscape for crypto could completely change.
Oh, absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
a huge deal for anyone who's involved in crypto or even thinking about getting involved.
For sure. It's
Yeah, imagine a world where who's in the Oval Office determines how easy it is to access crypto,
wow. Yeah.
how much you pay in taxes on it,
Right.
even what kinds of crypto projects are successful or not.
That's wild.
It's a high-stakes election for the future of crypto in the U.S., that's for sure.
It really is like two totally different universes for crypto, depending on who wins.
That's a great way to put it.
Isn't it?
It really highlights how much uncertainty and excitement there is around this technology,
Totally.
and it shows why it's so important to stay informed and really engage with how the political and regulatory landscape is changing.
It's true. Knowledge is power,
Exactly.
especially in the crypto world. Okay, so we've talked about Bitcoin's rally, all that institutional money coming in,
Okay.
and this potential political earthquake that could really shake things up.
Right.
But with all this focus on Bitcoin, let's not forget about the other big player, Ethereum. You included some really interesting articles about Vitalik Buterin's vision for its future, and it sounds like he's got some big plans. Big plans might be putting it mildly from what I read.
Right.
Buterin's talking about faster transactions, better security, and really making Ethereum accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
not just the big players.
It's about taking Ethereum to that next level,
Okay.
turning it into a fully realized financial network.
Right.
Because right now, those Ethereum transactions can take up to 15 minutes,
Yeah.
which isn't really practical for everyday use.
Right.
But Buterin sees a future where transactions happen almost instantly,
Wow.
which would just open up so many possibilities. Like
Yeah.
imagine point-of-sale purchases, microtransactions, things we haven't even thought of yet.
So it's like upgrading from dial-up to fiber optic,
Exactly.
but for money and like the whole digital world.
Exactly. And it's not even just about speed. He also wants to make it more secure.
Right.
Make sure that Ethereum is really resilient to those attacks.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But what really stands out to me is how much he's emphasizing accessibility.
Yeah.
He wants to make it easier for everyone to actually use and benefit from Ethereum,
Right. Right.
no matter how tech-savvy they are.
Right. And I think that gets lost sometimes
Totally.
in all the hype about market caps and price prediction.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
It's about how this technology can actually help people.
exactly how it can empower individuals.
So for someone like me, who's not a crypto whiz,
Sure.
what would that kind of accessibility actually look like?
Well, imagine being able to send money anywhere in the world,
Okay.
just as easily as sending a text message
Okay.
with just a few taps on your phone
Right.
and no crazy fees.
Right.
Or think about having more control over your own money and financial information
Okay.
without having to rely on those traditional banks.
Right. It's about giving people more control over their own finances
Exactly.
and opening up those new possibilities.
Yes. And that's what's so exciting about this technology.
Yeah.
But, we have to talk about the elephant in the room
Okay.
with all this talk about a potential crypto revolution.
Right. Is it all hype?
Yeah. Are we headed for another bubble?
Right.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't
It
it?
really is. Yeah.
We're seeing Bitcoin come back strong.
Right.
Institutional money is pouring in.
Yeah.
And we're seeing these incredible technological advancements that could really change everything.
Right.
But at the same time, there's still so much uncertainty,
Totally.
especially when it comes to regulations.
Right.
And there's always that potential for market manipulation.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a really interesting time.
It is. It's exciting, but it's also a little bit scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's this mix of incredible promise and potential volatility.
Yeah. Yeah, for
It's a
sure.
lot to wrap your head around.
It really is. So
Yeah.
where does that leave us?
Well, I think it all comes down to making informed decisions.
Okay.
Understanding that crypto isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It's for transformative technology, and it's still early days.
Yeah.
So stay curious, keep learning, and figure out what role you want crypto to play in your life.
That's great advice. Well, we've covered a ton today.
We have.
Bitcoin's big comeback, all that institutional money flowing into the market,
Right.
the potential impact of the election, and what the future might hold for Ethereum.
The crypto world never sleeps.
It really doesn't. But one thing's for sure, the crypto world is always changing,
Absolutely.
full of opportunities and risks.
That's what makes it exciting.
It does. So we're going to leave you to do some more exploring of your own, dive into those articles, and see what other insights you can uncover.
Yeah, happy exploring, everyone.
And thanks for joining us for this deep dive.